Mental health is one of the major public health challenges we face in Scotland. Around 1 in 3 people will be affected by a mental health illness in any 1 year. The Scottish Government say they have prioritised improving mental health. But support groups across the country say more needs to be done and it's a pandemic waiting in the wings. Mental health disorders can be anything from depression and loneliness to anxiety and stress, phobias and obsessive compulsive disorder. As part of World Mental Health Day, Kirstin Tait has been speaking to veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, calling for a centre of excellence to reduce waiting times and save lives.
I just finished my 4th tour in Iraq. When I came home, it was clear I was a very unwell young man.
I didn't realise how tough it was until afterwards, really.
Nobody spoke about it.
A war, not on the battlefield, but in the mind. Steve Beattie joined the British Army when he was just 18 years old.
When you're in the British forces, you know that you're going to be doing some pretty dark stuff. It comes with the job, which I'm very proud of. But what I didn't expect was to see kids getting blown up. And that for me was, to this day, that was the worst thing I ever saw. Coming home, thinking, why did I get to come home? But when I came home, I was in a bad way, mentally, a really bad way.
Simon Marion also served in the armed forces from a young age, seeing conflict around the world.
I was medically discharged, so I was losing my job, my house and my marriage was ending. And I got to the point of, for whatever reason at that moment in time, of wanting to take my own life. So I did get to that point. Thankfully, I was interrupted by one of my oldest friends and rang my doorbell and interrupted me. I didn't recognise what I was feeling. I just knew it was painful.
Unable to recognise themselves, like many leaving the armed forces, Steve and Simon say they didn't know where to turn for help. The Scottish Government say that 90% of people should start their psychological treatment within 18 weeks of referral. But for those with PTSD, the wait can be too long.
There's waiting lists to get assessed, then you have a waiting list to get treatment, and in that time I've lost friends because of this time delay to suicide. I think since I joined the military to now, I've lost 23 friends to suicide.
We need a centre of excellence, somewhere in Grampian that you can go to, and there's no waiting times. People don't have that amount of time, so we need access to something that's there, somewhere they can walk in.
A charity in Aberdeenshire is using the power of horsemanship to support veterans with PTSD.
These horses that you see behind me are ex-race horses. So they're almost a metaphor for the people that we serve here. In other words, they've had a career, they've established themselves in the world, and then they get hurt, and that injury isolates them. They need to find a second career because they can't do what they were doing, so they need to rewire themselves. Every week we've got people here and they come from all walks of life, whether they're veterans in the military, and we create an environment with the team that helps those horses help the folks that come here.
After leaving the Marines and suffering from a serious head injury, Mick said he became a recluse. But last year, he was introduced to Jock's horses.
I mean, I was so anxious coming up the drive, really worried, the unknown, what am I about? How can horses possibly help me? I had a bad combination. I was allergic and petrified, but that's all gone now. I haven't spent loads of time around the horses. I feel I'm finding myself again, if that makes sense. I may never get the old Mick back, but I'm definitely on the right path.
Mick, Simon and Steve count themselves as some of the lucky ones, but urge anyone struggling to take the first step and ask for help.
The inspiration's there. You can rewire yourself. You can find happiness again. You can find yourself again. So please, if you're sitting watching this and you're hurting bad, tell someone.
Kirstin Tait, STV News.
Well, for more information and support on the issues raised in Kirstin's report, go to stv.tv/news.